Here's your guys' lesson on rationalize binomial denominators. So, we're going to have a situation where we have to rationalize this, you guys, but instead of having monomial, meaning one radical on the bottom, there's two terms, a binomial. So, there is a technique that enables you guys to rationalize this, and that is by using the conjugate. So, we have 4 steps, right? We have 4 steps. So steps to rationalize binomial denominator. Step 1, find the conjugate of the denominator. Step 2, multiply the numerator and denominator by the conjugate. Step 3, make sure all the radicals are simplified. And step 4, simplify the fraction if needed. So for example 1, we will follow our steps and see how it goes. So when finding the conjugate of the denominator, here's the binomial, and remember the conjugate is this binomial, but this sign is the opposite, and that is our binomial. So what we have to do is multiply by 2 plus the square root of 17 to top and bottom, because 2 plus the square root of 17 is the conjugate of that denominator, right? So it's as if you guys, if we have 3 plus square root of 5 and we had to find the conjugate of this, it would be 3 minus square root of 5, right? Opposite of this sign would be the conjugate, but then you keep everything else. So now when you get to this stage, I know, but you guys, this is where we have to do our distribution. So this 8 will distribute to both of here. And then this one, you guys, this is where you guys gotta do your double distribution. So the 2 will distribute to both of these, and the radical 7 will distribute to both of these. So really practicing your guys' algebra skills, right? So on the top, 8 times 2, 16. 8 times square root of 17 is plus 8 rad 17. Now the denominator, 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times rad 17 plus 2 rad 17. Negative rad 17 times 2 is negative 2 rad 17. And the square root of 17 times the square root of 17. Remember, since this and this are the same radical, all you do is get back the number itself. Now, keep notice it's a negative. So we're going to have negative square root of 17 times square root of 17 is just going to be 17. Now notice, this, you guys, we can combine like terms, but we have a 2 rad 17 and minus 2 rad 17, so these cancel. So all we really have left is, can't simplify the top, so 16 plus 8 rad 17 all over. 4 minus 17, you guys, is negative 13. So you guys' final answer would be, just put the negative on the side, you guys. Negative 16 plus 8 rad 17 all over 13. So your answer could look like that, or you guys could just leave it like that as well. Okay? So the only trick is you have to multiply top and bottom by the conjugate. And if you multiply by the conjugate, you just have to make sure that your guys' algebra, signs, and everything multiplying just turns out to be pretty good. Consistent, right? Okay, so I want you guys to pause this video and try out this doyo. I want you guys to pause the video and try out this doyo. Okay, so let's take a look. Gotta multiply top and bottom by the conjugate because there's 2 terms and there's a radical. So the conjugate of 6 plus the square root of 10 is 6 minus the square root of 10 to top and bottom. Now we gotta do our distribution. So the 4 distributes to both of these. And here, the 6 distributes to both, and the rad 10 distributes to both. So here we're going to have 4 times 6, which is 24. 4 times square root of 10, or negative square root of 10, is negative 4 rad 10. All over 6 times 6, 36. 6 times negative square root of 10, negative 6 square root of 10. Square root of 10 times 6 is 6 radical 10. And radical 10 times negative rad 10, right? Positive times a negative is a negative. And since it's the same square root times the same square root, we just get the number on the inside, which is just going to be 10. Okay, so let's clean some stuff up. These, you guys, are opposites of each other, so they cancel. Now let's simplify this a little further. 24 minus 4 radical 10 all over 36 minus 10, 26. Now you can simplify this further. If you guys take a look at this, there's a 24, there's a negative 4, and there's a 26, right? So there is a number that can go into top and bottom, you guys, and if we divide top and bottom by 2. 2 goes into 24, 2 goes into negative 4, and 2 goes into 26. So our final answer is going to be 12 minus 2 radical 10 all over 13. And this would be your guys' final answer. So again, practice requires a little bit more practice, but eventually you guys will get to the point where you guys can practice this. Very similar to how you guys simplify your guys' square roots. Very similar to how you guys simplify, not your square root, sorry. Very similar how you guys would simplify your guys' imaginary numbers with their conjugates back in first semester. So we'll try one more, and we will just see how you guys do. Sorry. Oh. Alright, again. Here's this one. Here's your guys' doyo. So again, pause the video, try this out first, and then play the video when you guys are ready. Okay, let's see how you guys did. Multiply top and bottom by the conjugate. So conjugate of this is 8 plus the square root of 14 all over 8 plus the square root of 14. Now I gotta do our distribution, right? So the 3 distributes out to both of here. And since this is a binomial times a binomial, the 8 distributes to both, and the negative square root of 14 distributes to both. Okay, 3 times 8, 24. 3 times square root of 14 is just 3 square root of 14. All over 8 times 8, 64. 8 times square root of 14, 8 square root 14. Negative square root 14 times 8, negative 8 square root 14. And lastly, a negative times a positive is a negative, and square root of 14 times square root of 14, you guys, is 14. You get the number back, right? Now let's clean this up. Okay, right here, you guys, these cancel. So we have 24 plus 3 square root of 14 all over 64 minus 14, you guys, is 50. And there is no number that could go into all of these, so this is as simplified as it gets. So this is the expectation, and this is what you guys have to do for your guys' assignment tonight.